Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. So today we're discussing a model that was launched a while back and almost immediately overlooked. In 2017, Arnold Son of La Chaux-de-Fonds launched the Tourbillon Chronometer No.36, and of course it's inspired by historical British watchmaking, but it is a modern-day Swiss luxury watch. A tourbillon chronometer, a twin barrel with a 90-hour power reserve, entirely handmade and hand-finished from a company that really only makes a few hundred watches per year under the manufacturer lug-to-lug, which stands behind the Arnold Son brand, and Citizen Group of Japan, which stands behind lug-to-lug. All of which is to say, it's almost like buying a super niche independent brand watch that's backed and protected by a company with limitless money. So it's a big watch. In rose gold here, you can see that it's 46 millimeters in diameter, 12.9 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 52.9 millimeters. It's got a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Taking a quick look at the details of the watch, you can see everything in its place and a place for everything. Deeply impressive, and maybe it even doesn't wear as large as you might expect. Though a 46, it wears nothing like a big pilot's watch. I do think it's a bit too large for my wrist, but I would say a 17 centimeter circumference wrist and up, game on. Now it is quite flat and it will slide underneath the dress cuff, so in that regard it works exactly as you would expect a rose gold dress watch tourbillon to do. It will slide underneath the cuff. One last look down the barrel, one last look over the top, a distance shot. All right, the strap. Brown, large-scale alligator leather. You can see there is some bolstering or stuffing to give it volume. We've got a folded edge, a monotone stitch, calfskin on the bottom. You can see no crimping, no gouging. This is an Arnold & Son factory strap matched by an Arnold & Son branded pin buckle with media blast and polish. You can see that the arc of the buckle actually matches the shape of the lugs. Now the lugs are quite beautiful, and you can see this is what you can do when you're making hundreds of watches per year. These lugs are welded to the case, so the lugs in the case made separately. The lugs then slotted in and welded on with a file used to create that super sharp break between the lug and the case. And you can even see that they're double finished with both polish and satin, contrasting edge to edge in close proximity. Deeply impressive case craft. There's a little bit of a tumble home to the case. Then we've got this double gadroon bezel, and it's double domed. In other words, we've got the Arnold & Son logo. Again, you saw it on the buckle. Now you see it on the crown. Push down crown, vintage inspired. Pocket watch is the source material here. And there's media blast and polish, of course. The watch has a dial that is open and airy, and the movement essentially is the dial. The movement here, which is the Arnold & Son 8600, is huge. It's got a diameter of 37.9 millimeters, so this movement by itself is bigger than a standard Datejust. You can see the twin barrels up at the top. We've got 90 hours of power reserve. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It is also a 1-minute tourbillon, and it's unusual to see those features in combination. Many brands love to talk about the craftsmanship, the tradition, the beauty of their tourbillon, but they rarely go big time and make an accuracy guarantee. This will run beyond COSC tolerances, so it is the rare tourbillon that is also a good timekeeper. Now we have a running seconds display adjacent. You can see they actually run off a common train down the middle. We have a separate bridge for the motion works, the hands that bear the minute and hour hands. You can see that those hands themselves are half brushed and half polished. Syringe broadsword hybrid that contrasts nicely. The movement is all made of maillot, so nickel copper zinc, just like, well, German silver. It's the same material. We have separate bridges for the barrels, which have both media blast and satination. Then you can see that there's lovely satination across many of these bridges, with the exception of the tourbillon bridge, which is entirely mirror polished, skeletonized, and beautifully beveled along its side, as are the parts of the tourbillon cage itself. You can see that there is internal beveling within the wheels that are used, which is a lovely piece of attention to detail. All screw heads are mirror polished. We have this track outboard that represents your hours and your minutes, and they feature applied rose gold faceted indices. Turning it all over, you can see that the movement's a little bit more modern on the back. Combination of media blast, brushing. We've got solarization backing the barrels, so you can see on the reverse side. We have double solarization, single solarization, and black polish and faceting. We have this lovely satinated swan's neck style click spring and click to prevent the barrels from running backwards. It all beats away at a stately 3 Hertz and pivots on 33 joules. Now you can see we've got nickel anthracite coating, and we've also got a few well-chosen solid gold chatons, just like we would have in the pocket watch era. You can see here and here and here a little nod to the way jewels were set in vintage watches before you could precisely set a jewel into a bridge. Now there's a lot of lovely media blast here, but you can see that the beveling, taking a quick look, it's flat but polished beveling, and it's present on all of the raw edges of metal, which I love to see. And the screw heads where present are chamfered, slotted, and beautifully polished. It's a great looking watch. Again, 30 meters water resistant, don't take it swimming. I feel like the 70s, 80s, and 90s Breguet thing is now a thing. I worked hard to get that started for a long time, but I think it's now got some momentum of its own. I think we now need to start talking about Arnold & Son watches being underrated and overlooked. Get started with this one. What a machine. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.